Good morning. I'm Dwight Keene, Chair of the Kansas Corporation Commission. I'm joined this morning by fellow Commissioners Susan Duffy and Commissioner Andrew French. At this time, I will call to order this meeting of the Kansas Corporation Commission on this February 8th, 2022. Commissioners, before us this morning, first up are 33 items on the consent agenda. You've had the opportunity to review the draft orders in these matters, and accordingly, I would ask if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, beginning with Commissioner Duffy.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. No, I have no comments or questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner French.
No questions. I move approval of the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. We have one noticed item before us this morning. It involves docket number 21-KGSG-332-GIG. It's in the matter of the investigation into Kansas Gas Service Company, a division of One Gas Inc., regarding the February 2021 winter weather events as contemplated by docket number 21-GIMX-303-MIS. This morning, we have before us an order on the unanimous settlement agreement on the KGS financial plan, and our presenter is our General Counsel, Brian Fedotin. Good morning, Brian.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. How are you? On July 30th, 2021, Kansas Gas Service filed its plan to minimize the financial effects of the 2021 winter weather event. On November 19th, KGS staff, CURB, and the National Gas Transportation Customer Coalition filed a joint motion to approve a settlement agreement of the financial plan. Some of the highlights of that settlement agreement are the parties agree that $366,158,817 in qualified extraordinary costs incurred by KGS during the winter event were prudently incurred and should be allowed to be recovered. To minimize the financial impact on its customers, KGS agreed to apply for a financing order in a separate docket, which would authorize securitized utility tariff bonds to finance those extraordinary costs. KGS is permitted to recover carrying costs of 2% on those extraordinary costs. And if KGS receives or recovers any payments as a result of federal, state government relief in terms of profit disgorgement, civil suit relief, market manipulation, et cetera, those payments will be passed on to the KGS customers. And also that KGS agrees to propose a tariff to assist low-income customers by December 31st, 2022. On January 20th of this year, Symmetry withdrew its objection to the financial plan settlement, which converts this settlement into a unanimous settlement. When considering a unanimous settlement, the Commission must make an independent finding as to whether the settlement is supported by substantial competent evidence, whether it will establish just and reasonable rates, and whether it is in the public interest. Here, there is substantial competent evidence in the record to support the financial plan settlement. Witnesses from CURB, KGS, and staff all testify that the financial plan will establish just and reasonable rates. Accordingly, the Commission finds that the approval of the financial plan will result in just and reasonable rates for KGS and its customers. Witnesses in support of the settlement testified that KGS was required to incur these extraordinary costs to ensure the integrity of the gas system and to ensure continuous gas service to Kansans. A lesser response could have resulted in catastrophic property damage and even potential loss of life. Since these extraordinary costs are unavoidable and necessary to benefit the public, it's in the public interest to allow the recovery of these costs. So consistent with the parties' positions, the commission finds approval of the financial plan is in the public interest. And obviously the order goes into more detail than what I'm doing this morning, but this order would approve the financial plan settlement in its entirety. With that, I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for the summary, Brian. We appreciate it very much. Commissioners, any questions, comments, or concerns? I'll begin with Commissioner French.
Thank you, Commissioner Keen. I have a brief comment. I will be supporting the order. I want to reflect just very briefly on the events that led to this order. This is a little different proceeding than many that come before us. We aren't simply reacting to an application or an action of our utility. In fact, in this proceeding, I think of us almost as an active participant or a proactive participant. Back in February, we worked very closely with our staff to monitor these events, and we saw scarce natural gas. We saw extraordinarily expensive natural gas, and we became really concerned that natural gas would not be delivered to our customers and our businesses. And so we took action. We took emergency action to tell our utilities to do whatever it took to keep the gas flowing, to protect property and to protect lives of Kansans. We've gone through this proceeding. We've audited the actions of the utility. And I think ultimately what was borne out is that they did exactly what we told them to do, that they did incur extraordinary costs, but they kept the gas flowing to folks and prevented those worst case scenarios. And so as the order lays out, when the utilities follow the response that we requested, and where a lesser response could have been catastrophic for the state, I do think it's in the public interest to allow recovery. I think one other very important aspect is that it is very possible that these natural gas prices, while maybe not the product of a well-functioning market or an illiquid market, it could have been the product of simple scarcity. But there are ongoing investigations related to these sky-high natural gas prices. And if those bear out that there was some malfeasance by the actors involved, that we have created machinery here for customers to be compensated. And I think that's a really important aspect to me of this order. So those would be my comments. I do support the order, and I thank you for the opportunity to make a comment.
Thank you very much, Commissioner French. Comments are well taken. Commissioner Duffy.
Thank you. I subscribe to all of Commissioner French's comments. I would like to also add that the event was not one day. It was multiple days. And for those of us at home, once your house gets cold, it's hard to heat it back up. And the fact that we had a continuous supply of heat for our homes is huge. We are all aware of the situation in Texas and how devastating that was, as there was not heat and there were compounded issues. I also, during this investigation, there were thousands of pages of data that we requested from the company and from entities that supply the company and work with the company on an everyday basis. But these were not everyday times. So it was important for our staff to do that deep dive, excruciating detail to ensure that the actions taken by the company from the top down were appropriate for what we asked for in our order in the second day, saying, all right, this is real, keep the heat flowing. And I am convinced, based on the data that we have received, that the company did the right thing. And while $366 million is absolutely extraordinary, it was important for life. So that said, I will be supporting this order. Further, I believe the method in which all the customers will be paying back is a fair one. It is good, it is fair, and it makes so much sense for the state of Kansas. So I would like to applaud all of those involved, especially our staff who were really here night and day working through the issues, not only for this large utility, but for several others, for the work that they have done. And I know they hope they never have to do this again, but they stood ready to then do their side of it after the fact. I do hope the federal government continues their investigation. And again, if malfeasance, as you phrased it, Commissioner French, is found, that that it will be proven out and that folks will be able to be recompensed for that. So with that, Chair Keen, I move approval of the order.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, very well. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the order in this docket. Is there any further discussion? I'll add my thoughts to it very succinctly. I subscribe to the views expressed by both of my fellow commissioners. Rather than repeat any portions of those again, I would simply say I think that what we've tried to do here is to make the best we could out of a really lousy set of circumstances and conditions. No way in the world would we even hope that this kind of thing could ever be visited upon us again. And we're trying to make the best we can and to minimize the damage and the harm that's caused by this particular set of circumstances. Having said that, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. The order is approved. And I would add my 2 cents worth to certainly the observation that Commissioner Duffy and French made about the extraordinary efforts of our staff throughout the events of almost a year ago. It was really quite extraordinary. Commissioners, I see nothing further on the agenda here for this morning's meeting, unless there's something that either of you would like to address. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.